What's up? Happy end of the year, 2021. Done. I can't even believe it. We got a few days left. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy new year. Let's get into it for another deep dive. We don't ask enough questions as loan officers. You don't ask enough questions as a loan officer to get to the right thing. You're getting relegated down to a decimal point. Let me tell you what I mean.
What's your best interest rate? It depends. Best rate, no fees. I have all the rates. Stop. Who's leading the conversations in your consultations? Welcome to #bypassed. Before even talking about rates, you need to help your hopeful buyers figure out what mortgage works for their situation. They need to decide if you're the right professional for them, and you need to decide if they're the right customer for you. All of that happens in a hopes and dreams conversation. Ask them questions like, do you plan on having kids? What do you plan to do with your home when the kids move out? How long do you see yourself living in this home? Or how about, do you plan on buying a vacation home sometime in your future? Remember, while you're the expert in the mortgage industry, they are the expert of their own lives. Learning what really matters for your borrowers will help you recommend the best mortgage products for them. So, be human. Want to know more? Well, this is one in a series, so follow on whatever platform you're watching this, and we'll make sure you don't get...
Look, I know that you know how to take a 1003. I know that you know how to ask certain questions because you do it over and over and over again. But we're not asking the real questions. Let's get deep on this 1-minute clip video and tell you what I'm really going to push you towards today. First, can you believe that we don't ask people how long they're going to live in their home? Loan officers don't. We don't ask them what if they're expecting kids. It would have been a great question for someone to ask me when I was moving into my new house. Hey, how long do you plan to live there? Your kids are 8 and 10. Is this a high school house, or are you living there forever after the kids graduate and leave and move on with their lives? These are crucial questions, but this is the crux of the whole deep dive that I want you to land with me right now. We're going to hit the punchline right now. The crux of the entire thing is the question when someone says, what's your rate? And that's all they want to talk about. What's your rate? What's your rate? What's your rate? I'm going to tell you right now that they do not respect you and your profession and your expertise if that's the question they're going to die on the hill. We have not shown our value if that's the question they refuse to move off of. Because if you have the courage to look at that customer or talk to that customer and explain to them, hey, I got to ask you some questions. I have all the rates, but that doesn't matter because the lowest rate isn't always the best rate if it comes with the most cost. You have to understand what is the best solution for you. And I need to ask you some questions about that. And then if you have the stones, the courage, this is what I want you to say. The reason I go through these questions, the reason this is so important for me before I fling out a rate to you is because I have to decide, because you have to decide if I'm the right professional for you. And I have to decide if you're the right customer for me. Holy crap. Can you imagine? Can you imagine for 1 second a loan officer with the courage to look a customer in the eye or on the phone and say, I've got to decide if you're the right customer for me? You see, your time is worth something because all of us have done business in our careers with the absolute worst grinding rate shopper who does not see any value that I bring to the table, who actually doesn't care if another loan officer would walk in tomorrow and replace me. They just want the absolute lowest rate in the world. Well, my time and my expertise and my wisdom and my structure and my team and my process and my 18 years of experience or whatever it is, if that means nothing to you, Mr. Customer, then you're not the right customer for me. Go fly free. Can you imagine the courage, the strength of that professional to value their time so much that they refuse to be relegated down to a decimal point? That was the entire intent of this fun bypass video. Have courage, have self-respect, understand your worth and your value, that your time means something, that your experience means something. Because if we don't do that and we don't have the courage to ask those questions, you know what happens? We take every deal on we can because we get those big dollar signs in our eyes and we think we're going to make it done. And you know what happens? I'm going to tell you exactly what happens. You know what happens with those customers? They never stop shopping you. They never see your value. Never. And they'll cancel on you at the end and just murder you for an eighth all day long. So what are we really talking about here? Set your value, explain your value, articulate your value so that when your customer says, what's your rate? It's all these things that come with it, and they know what's coming with it. So they can make an informed decision that maybe they don't care about your value. Okay, fly. Go work with a loan officer who doesn't have a value. And if you have a bad experience, God bless America. But if we don't articulate our value, if we don't stand up for ourselves as professionals, then what are we really telling our customer? I'm not really worth it. Now, don't collapse this conversation into, well, that means you should be able to rip customers off or have bad rates or any of that garbage. I'm just telling you there's a difference between a Nordstrom service and a Walmart service, and we know this as consumers. We know this. And so when they come to get a mortgage rate, there's a difference between somebody who just got in the business and was a dim sum baker last month versus you who has X number of years experience and does this much business and purchase every year and has this type of reputation in your market. There's a difference. Can we just acknowledge there's a difference? But if we're not explaining our difference, this is, by the way, the undercurrent of this conversation is why you see me as a maniac yelling at you to showcase your value on the internet all day long. Put out content, put out messages, educate, showcase what you do, who you are, because if the universe can't see it and the first conversation they have with you and Google with you is they see nothing online and they talk to you for the first time, yeah, they don't know who you are. They don't know your value. They don't know what you stand for. They don't know your professionalism. They don't know you. So of course they're going to say, what's your rate? That's why you see me being a maniac and pushing everybody to get online, get on the internet, put yourself out there, show up big time, because if you don't, that's the ramification. So let me recap one more time for you guys real quick on this 1 minute fun video. Number one, if you don't understand your inherent value, you need to go to the mountaintop, sit under a tree, go to the ocean and have a moment with the Lord and define this in a little book or write it down. What do you bring to the table besides an interest rate? Maybe you have years of experience. Maybe you have a reputation in the market that helps you get your offers accepted over others. Maybe you have a close ratio that's exceptionally high. So when you write a loan, it closes every single time. Maybe it's the wisdom and the knowledge you've accumulated over your years of experience that helps guide people into the biggest financial decision of their life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What do you bring to the table besides, yeah, my rate's right here and then we close loans? You got to articulate that. You got to understand it, and you got to have the courage to, when confronted with the customer who just wants to grind you down from the second they talk to you, what's your rate, what's your rate, what's your rate? You need to have the courage to say, hey, we need to have some conversations about what you're really trying to achieve here in your home. Because the best rate's always not the best rate for you. The lowest rate isn't often the best rate. Let me ask you some questions. I don't care about the questions, what's your rate? Look, if I don't ask these questions, my rate's 2%. What? Yeah, just comes with a bunch of fees. If I don't ask these questions, see, you're going to choose a professional to work with for the next 30 days to buy your dream home, to help you navigate this intense market. You're picking your professional who's going to help you from A to Z. And so, yeah, you probably have some questions for me, but I have some questions for you because I have to give you the right information to make the right decisions, and it's going to come with questions. Because I don't work with every single person I talk to. I mean, I'm sitting here. Can you imagine the loan officer that does that? They're out there. They're the mega producers. I've sat in hundreds of offices. I even did it myself back in the glory days. But I've sat in hundreds of offices with loan officers and heard the great ones say, look, I understand. Maybe I'm not the right professional for you. I do this much business in this community. Here's what I stand for. Here's my commitment. Here's my reputation. But I'm not for everybody. And if you don't want to come down the path that I've created for my customers, I understand. That's power. That's courage. That is differentiation. That's real leadership. That's leading your customers the way that they deserve and need to be led through one of the largest and most complicated transactions of their life. Don't dumb it down. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. Showcase your value, because you're more than an interest rate. You hear me? You hear me talking to you in there? Ask the questions. Take control of the conversation, not in a manipulative way, not in a mean way, but own it. It's your business they're coming into. And I know that you know deep in your heart that when you don't do this and you take on that crazy client who's just absolutely going to kill you for 30 days and then cancel on you at the end, that you know in your heart it's not worth it. So don't do it. Ask the questions, be the leader, showcase your value, and have some fun. Yeah, listen, you gotta lead with that kind of professionalism, that kind of power. Your customers deserve to have that kind of experience, but they don't know any better because they're chipped. Old mentor of mine used to say they're chipped. They have a process they think they need to go through. They've been told no points, no fees, no points, no fees. What? Is that the right deal for you? How do you know? Because we have to talk about it. It could be, but I have to ask you some questions. I've looked at LEs for cash out refinances that sound like it's a great deal. There's a lot of cash out refinances happening right now. I've looked at them with huge amount of points on there to get the lowest rate. And I'm going, whoa, is that the deal? How many points? Well, they got the super low rate. Yeah, but is that the right rate? How long is it going to take to recoup that cost? Oh my God, we're starting to open the door to bigger conversations. Those are the ones we have to have with our customers to show them what's up so they can make informed decisions. But if you're not leading them down the path, no one else is. They're programmed from marketing to be like, no points, no fees. Well, is that the best? We know it's not. So be bold, take control of the customer and the conversation, and be courageous. You know, there are plenty of efficient. If you live in a model of scarcity, then it's like, yes, I need every loan. I need, oh my God, please. But if you live in the world of abundance, you go, you know what? I'm probably not the best loan officer for that customer. They don't respect me. They don't want my expertise. They don't want my experience. Let them fly. That's all I'm saying to you today. Let them fly. Be strong in your commitments to yourself, and it will radically transform your business. Have a wonderful New Year's if I don't see you again.